This is Kathy Chase. I don't really know where presidents get off with the ideas of saying that children's bodies are weapons and that child abuse is something that they want to promote. I don't really know where they come off saying that they had to strong-arm me. I don't know what they're talking about. Planning war with civilians is not in the duties of the President of the United States. And as I said, these people cater and advertise child abuse, violating children's bodies and exploiting people's privacies in manners in which are in very poor judgment. As I said, the duties of the presidents have nothing to do with planning wars with civilians and using children's bodies as weapons. I was 10 years old when this happened to me. My children were all minors when they started victimizing them. I believe from the time they were born was their intent. And as I said, these people cater to child abuse. That's all that there is to this scenario with me and my children. It's just catering to child abuse. And they try to justify that every single day. And there's something seriously wrong with them and their families. And there's no way you can justify child abuse. And there's no way they can justify saying they wanted to abuse me from the time I was a child. And you know, there's no way that they can justify, violating and abusing children with their little game. As I had said, this should have been prevented. My children have been abused because people can't do their jobs the way they're supposed to do their jobs. There is nothing in the job description of presidents that say they're supposed to plan wars with civilians, women and children, and stupid things of that nature. They don't want to admit that they wanted to do it for money reasons. They won't admit, even though it's obvious as human trafficking, they don't want to admit to laundering and all those other things. But when it comes down to it, you can't justify using children to plan war, to plan any malicious ideas of manipulating people's lives and their bodies to hurt them. The job of the president. Well, the job of the president is to help people, to serve the people, and to look out for other people. Not to look for ways to violate or hurt people. That is not the job of the president. And as I said, these people cater to child abuse. I'm so worried about my son right now. I have to worry about all my kids. They're still, I think, giving Amber poisonous cigarettes that make her breathe funny. And, you shouldn't be out of breath after having a cigarette. And I know what they put in them I don't know what they put in them, but I've had one of them. I've had them before. It's been quite some time since I've gotten a bad cigarette. But as I said, Sean is sick. If the government doesn't do something soon, something's going to happen to Sean. I think he's getting to the point where they keep poisoning him with the Subway or the Valentinos, and he's not going to make it much longer if they don't do something. I don't have a car. I can't drive. They want to play Peter Pumpkin Eater and trap me in playing Eggers Chase Hunts. And I can't afford things because they've tied up my finances to the point where I can't even move. And they knew that. Now I have to deal with favor in this country. And that was one reason why I tried to leave. I have to deal with favor. I have to deal with people who say that children's lives are toys and people's lives are toys and you can do whatever you want to people. As if, rich people don't have enough to do. They need something else to do. Have people be their toys or whatever. Privilege. Well, I don't even know what you're talking about. As I said, this whole scenario with what they did to my kids, they said they had to do that to my kids to strong-arm me. That's what they claim. George Bush, why do you claim that they needed to chip up my kids and they've had to poison my kids to strong-arm me? Where do you get that idea from? Where do you get the idea that you can justify saying child abuse, premeditating war crimes, child abuse, and those sorts of things are even justifiable using politics? I don't even know what you're talking about. I think you people are confused about duties and what they're for, and I don't even know where you get this from that you ever had a strong army for things that I didn't even do to my life, or why you think you had to use my children as weapons, why you thought it would be a good idea to use my life as a weapon. I don't even know where you're coming from. You're totally lost. If you keep pointing the finger at me, but I don't even know what you're talking about. Catering to child abuse. I didn't make a single choice about my life, and neither have my children. You people say RFID is your weapon to use children's bodies as weapons for no reason whatsoever. Can you come up with a reason that you can tell the public? Because you're not going to admit to the monies, but why would you use children's bodies? I mean, where do you get this idea that you needed a strong army? I don't get that one, first of all. You hit me by ambush for things that I didn't even do to my life, and you knew that I was tricked into being exploited out of trickery, and you knew I had been under hypnosis. All your blurry pictures, everybody knows about this stuff. Time magazine and all these other places, lots of people knew. The entertainment industry knew about my life before I did, and lots of people knew about my life. Before I was exposed. It even was in the movies from going back 20-some years ago. Whatever. I know you're greedy with monies and so forth, but that's no reason to hurt my kids. If people were never interested in not being greedy, whether it's corporate or politicians, and then they could have just left me alone. So all this abuse that my children have been under, especially since Barack Obama started running for presidency, is all in vain. All of this has always been. The abuses to my children's bodies in vain. My life has been in vain. Nobody ever appreciated anything. These people don't know anything about gratitude or being thankful for what they have in their lives. They think they gotta hurt people all the time. Why is it people think they need to hurt people all the time? Why can't you use money to help people and be good to other people? By setting a good example for this country. Why is it the failures with the left and the right? Why can't I get people to show that they know how to be normal people? Why is it that people can't be normal between the left and the right? As I said, you people cater to child abuse, and you try to justify it. You'll never be able to justify what's happened to my life. You never got a conscience over the years. And then how did you even think about trying to justify what you've done to my 3 kids as well? the way you people think is absolutely wrong. You don't look for ways to hurt people. You don't say you need to have designated slaves for yourselves. You don't need to enslave children. You don't need to entrap people in their lives playing name games, Chase Eggers hunts, or whatever. I mean, it's really, really ridiculous and insane. The evidences that I've uncovered between the LaSalle and the pound and the punching and the peep shows and all that stuff, that's just insane. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with the fundamentals of how your families and you think. You're not right in the head. You can't be right in the head. You went after to abuse all 3 of my children too in your adulthoods. There's no way you're ever going to say, oh, well, I did that to your foot when I was a kid, and so I'm going to come after you later. So where does the person who put this in my foot think that they can plan a war with me later? That's absolutely ridiculous and arrogant and just asinine. Completely asinine. I mean, who the heck would do stuff to a person's body and then come back and play war games against them? How many years later? 25 years later they started, or 24 years, 23 years later they started their little war with me because of what they did to my foot? There's something wrong with them. Really, 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 really wrong. They're not okay. They're not right in the head. And catering to abusing my 3 children as well. Sean really needs medical help. You keep playing this game, he ain't gonna make it. And somebody in the government needs to get a conscience and take care of the problems that we have, where people think it's okay to try to justify abusing my children and I for things we never did. And I've said that a billion times. I've tried to look for different ways to maneuver out of the situation. I don't know how. I tried to leave the country to get some help because I have to deal with people playing crazy games with my life that have no legal basis in them whatsoever. There's nothing legal that's happened in the past 5 years, 6 years, and beyond the past 29 years to my children and I. There has been not a single thing legally done. And you people say you want to cater to child abuse. You say you had to have reasons to ambush me and strong arm me with my children because you like to abuse children. If you weren't interested in giving us monies anyway, you don't have to go that far. You don't have to kill people up because you don't want to share monies with them. As I said, you're never going to be able to justify abusing me and my children, starting when I was 10 years old. And I don't want to hear this military reference, NATO and potatoes and tomatoes, anymore. I don't want to hear references to military anymore. That's crazy. I was a child. My children, I've been a stay-at-home mother under hypnosis most of my life. I mean, I don't know where you're getting, where you're going, but you're people. A lot of these people are going straight to hell. Obviously, I can't believe you try to justify child abuse, child neglect, hurting children. There's just no way you can do that.